Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another start of the maddest week in the space of the financial markets. My name is Tino. Welcome to Traders Reality, the home of the good old hybrid system. So what's the flavor? Bitcoin's the flavor, huh? Nice little move to the upside right there, 2.74% increase. Not bad, of course. News on the fact that the grayscale ETF will not be opposed by the SEC. That means happy days. Yep, let's roll with it. But where's BlackRock's? I want BlackRock's ETF. Now, I'm not a pessimist, but I still need a little bit more loving from BlackRock in relation to their ETF. We've had some very interesting news saying that the manufacturing sector has increased ever so slightly. They projected for a reading of minus 6.2. and it came in at minus 4.3. I'll be precise with those figures when I get into the live, but that's good news. It is contracting still. It's a negative reading, but it's gone up from the projected reading of minus 6.2. So what does that all mean? Well, it means investors right now know that the economy for the US, or in terms of manufacturing sector, is starting to move up a little bit. What does that mean? Well, if it means it's moving up, then we could be prone to a little bit more of a price increase. We already know inflation's a bit of a problem. We know that in the next 2 weeks, we got good old Powell and the bum chums going to decide whether or not we are going to have higher interest rates for a longer period of time with the potential of more increases. Man, it's all messed up if you ask me. But in lighter news, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about why the government currently holding 200,000 Bitcoin to the sum of 5 billion is a little bit of a problem. Now, if the US has a problem with cash, what are they doing with 5 billion stacked in crypto in external wallets? That's good news. If it's stuck in cold storage, happy days. We're all going to be paying attention to when they're going to run one of those auctions where they like to release some of this Bitcoin. Now, the last time they did it is they released it into a CoinBase exchange, around 9,000 Bitcoin. And then, of course, they sold some to Tim Draper. So we're going to be hearing about what they're going to do with this Bitcoin. But let's just put two and two together here. Bitcoin has shot up 2.5%. Would now be a good time for them to offload it? Who knows? But it all depends. Now, this was Bitcoin that was seized by lots of fraudulent behavior by certain exchanges, Bitfex, whatever it was. We'll dive into that very, very shortly. But it does grant the question, should we be concerned? Me personally, I don't think so. I don't think we should be concerned about the government holding 200,000 Bitcoin. That's for another story. More importantly, today in the live stream, we're going to have a look at what Bitcoin has been up to. We've got tensions overseas that could be mounting up even more, given that the Israeli government is looking at doing a ground force attack. And Biden's there like, look, man, we need to come with some diplomacy right here. We need to come to an agreement because you can't allow this. And quote, Biden said, don't. That's exactly what he said. For a man that doesn't really have much to say, and when he does say it, it sounds all messed up, he clearly said, don't 4 times. Congratulations to Biden on his use of vocabulary. Happy days to my guy. Let's get another season from Biden purely on that basis. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump into the charts. We're going to find out how long Bitcoin can sustain this move to the upside, okay? But remember, we've had non-stop smacks to the downside. Naturally, we're going to be expecting a little bit of a recovery in assets across the board. NASDAQ is moving up kind of nicely. S&P is moving up nicely. Oil is still toying around that $88 mark, which it just peaked from earlier on, just, well, a few moments ago. Happy days for that bad boy. But with the tensions that are happening overseas, there is the potential for oil to increase yet again. Gold has made a nice little slump to the downside, but potentially holding up. And we were hoping if gold is going to sustain itself. And who is this in the chat? Milad, mad love and respect. You are amazing, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get with the charts, man. Here we go. So, look at this. Nice little move by BTC right there, ladies and gentlemen. What do we have going off here? Now, question is, how many of you drew out your midpoint of the vector candle recovery? Let's have a look. What have we got? Wow, what a fractional region right there. Look at that. Coming so close to the logic of the idea, should I say, that when they come back into this point, we assume that support is going to be engaged and Bitcoin is trading around the high ADR. Now, this is where I will say to you, two things that you have to have into consideration when you are actually in a profitable trade with Bitcoin. Hands up, how many of you are in longs right now on Bitcoin? Tell me what you've got. Type 1 if you're in a long, type 2 if you're in a short, type 3 if you are in both, type 4 if you like my shirt. Moving on from that, whilst you guys are putting that into the chat itself, the issue that I've got with this short-term move to the upside with Bitcoin is it is currently sat around the range daily high. Now, this is what you've got to take into consideration with the range daily high. When Bitcoin is trading sideways, okay, what happens is the averages of price. Now, the range daily high and high ADR. Let's go with the high ADR. The high ADR is the sum of the last 14 days in the chart. So Bitcoin averagely moves high ADR. Based on the last 14 days, it moves to this high point right here. I'm going to check that chat very second. You guys don't even care about trading. You're not even here for trading. You're here for the shirt. I like it. I like it. Very, very good chat. I will now get a little bit adventurous with my shirts because I'm loving the love you guys are providing. 69 is another number. We didn't stipulate 69, my bro. Maybe one day. Anyways, shut up. Anyways, so the high ADR itself, in principle, just tells us the average of price where it could move up or where it could move down, okay? Now, when you've got sideways price action, that average tends to lessen, okay? So that's a little bit of a problem for me that we have seen Bitcoin trading sideways, and then all of a sudden it's moved up and it's hit the range daily high and the average daily range. Now, that means that whenever price hits these zones, we expect reversals from them. But because the range has been tight anyway, it's actually succeeded that range. So we may still have a little bit more movement in Bitcoin to the upside. We've already had the retrace. Now we're going in for a continuation move to the upside. The news that come out earlier on, happy days, minus 4.6%. That's good news, but it's still contracting. That's no good to the dollar. What does it all mean? Well, euro, nice little flavoursome return, but struggling, but I'm expecting that to do that anyway. Dollar dominance, where we at? Here we go. Dollar has been trading lower, but we've got a problem of dollar with a big fat green vector candle wick range down below that we need to be paying attention to. But more importantly, what we got to be taking into consideration is what's going to be happening this week. So we got Harker's speaking later on at 3:30. Well, in the next hour and 20 minutes or so, he's going to be speaking on what the plan is. Now, what you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen, is as we get closer and closer to the FOMC meeting, which we have got on the first week of November, there's going to be a smack and a bean hitting our faces. Why? Because look at this. Going into the first week of November, we have got on Wednesday, Federal Reserve Fund Rates, FOMC statement, the press conference, jobs opening, ISM manufacturing, and the ADP non-farm employment change. You would be a nut job to be trading inside of this range. Why? Because it's just all news announcements that are effectively going to be smacking the charts, and they're going to be hitting prices up and down. The safest bet would be to wait until they finish with that day. Because from now until then, we're going to be getting lots and lots of data regarding the US economy. We're going into Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. You've got the unemployment claims. You've got Powell speaking, Harker speaking yet again this week on the Thursday. The only days that you have really to trade, in my opinion, are really Wednesday and Friday. Those are the two best days for you to not get caught out in any news play. So just remember, keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Now, just going into this story over here that we were talking about just as we started. Here it is right here. US government largest Bitcoin holders with over 5 billion in Bitcoin. Like I said to you, it's all in cold storage, and they're going to make the announcement when they're going to plan on selling it. Okay, like they did last time with the CoinBase. Now, this is not to alarm you. It's just to let you know that the US government is one of the biggest holders of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Okay, I believe you got, who else? We got Grayscale. No, MicroStrategy, I believe, is around 150,000 Bitcoin, or if they've been offloading it. Haven't checked that out lately. But it's something to be aware of. Now, is it going to happen overnight? No. Are they going to get rid of it all straight away? No, they wouldn't do that. Okay, but given that you've got the SEC gunning for all these exchanges and then cryptocurrency, maybe the government holding this Bitcoin is a good sign. Why? Because then we can assume that once cryptocurrency regulation comes into play, then it's happy days. It's like endorsement. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, in relation to this grayscale ETF story, I just want to show you something. Right here, we've got the Fidelity Crypto Industry and Digital Payments ETF, just as an example. Now, I've been looking into what these ETFs that are cryptocurrency based and how have they been performing. And I'm looking at the Fidelity one. Now, remember, an ETF is a basket of assets. And as we scroll down into the actual holdings of the asset allocation of this ETF, we can see here that they've got Coinbase, Riot Platforms, Marathon, Applied Digital Corp, CleanSpark, Hut 8 Mining Corp, Bit Digital Ordinary Shares, Canon, Bitfarms, and Hive. Now, you can see that they haven't really been doing too well, and most of their weight in this ETF is with Coinbase. So that leads me over to Coinbase itself on working out exactly what we can expect from Coinbase. Now, look, when Coinbase makes a move up, usually Bitcoin usually follows. Now, we're going to probably have a decent little move in the marketplace very shortly when it opens, going into the NASDAQ and the S&P to put things into perspective for us quickly. We've got NASDAQ holding out there, and look how they come back into the vector candle region right there that we spoke about, ladies and gentlemen. You've had these two arrows here for you, courtesy of the hybrid system. This one shall be gone because we have now removed ourselves from that range. Now, we've got a nice little W formation right there, and I can see something brewing, which I'll be talking about later on. Now, with that being said, NASDAQ doing relatively okay. S&P 0.5% up for the day. Happy days, come back into the vector recovery region to only see a nice little reversal from that point. Remember, the vector candles are all about where orders were previously placed with interest to mark prices higher or lower. And when price comes back to those points, we usually assume that that same interest is going to come into play. That's the basis of the hybrid system, ladies and gentlemen. Now, with that being said, given that we've just had the news announcements, in my honest opinion, ladies and gentlemen, just to put it into perspective for you, I think that over the next 2 weeks, we're going to have movement in the charts. But up until the FOMC, they're going to be dripping out all these articles. What could the Fed do? What, all these speakers, are they hawkish, dovish? What's the story? And then as we get closer and closer to the FOMC itself, we're going to see one obvious move that stinks that will get enough people in and committed. Remember, they are now going to be pricing in the idea that the Fed is going to hold interest rates. They're going to stay higher for longer. We've even had a pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, saying that it's not looking good for them because, well, let's put it into perspective. Now, I'm not even going to say what I want to say about it, just in case we get cancelled and what have you. But Pfizer, the biggest pharmaceutical company, is cutting their revenues and their estimates for the near future. So, not enough sick people. I guess that's another story, ladies and gentlemen. Back into the charts to bring you some flavor. So what have we got going on? Let's have a look at BTC, currently at 2.77%. Remember what we did say about the idea that Bitcoin is at its range daily high. Now we need to know where retail traders are currently stacked. Here we go. So we've got this flavor down here. They've nearly liquidated $470 million worth of long liquidations at 27,642. So remember that, 27,642. Let me just find that true figure. There you go, 27,642. Take that bad boy, 27,640. They've liquidated that those areas right there. But those are the 50x, if I'm correct. No, those are the 100x traders, 100x. Another bit of liquidity at 474 is 27,349. So the same position in principle, but the 25x, so 50x traders at 27,349. 27,349 will take us all the way down into towards this region right here. Now, we want to be very careful because that is where there are long liquidations. Now, if you're looking at this chart, asking yourself, should I close my long? Should I close my short? This is where most of the liquidity is. You don't need to be worried until Bitcoin invalidates this 27,600 zone. Why? Because they've already come back into it and they've now made a move back up. Problem is, I'm not seeing a follow through just yet. Let's go over to the stock market to understand exactly what we could be going into. Tesla, where's it at? Well, Tesla right now is showing promise of a gap down. Now, when Pfizer actually says that they're cutting their estimates and starting to look forward and think maybe it's not looking too good, that's a heavyweight market cap in itself. It's the biggest in the pharmaceutical sector anyway. Moving from that, we can assume that the market's going to be taking that into consideration. Now, we spoke about Tesla coming back into this vector zone. Happy days, it's come back into vectors. And now we got a little gap down here with Tesla, which could pose a little bit of a problem. But remember, Tesla's been acting like the peeping Tom, where it gaps down, it comes back up and fills that gap. Okay, this up-down business is a little bit madness for Tesla, but you can see where we are. We're in a very interesting range for Tesla, okay? And the thing you want to be taking into consideration is if the cost of oil is going up, naturally, that's going to start making people pay into consideration the idea of getting an electrical car. Now, it's not going to happen straight away, but the idea is how many times are we going to keep seeing oil's prices going up, people getting squeezed for the price of oil, and then they just turn around and say, you know what, I'm done with this. I want to start getting involved in an electric car. Is it more cost worthy for me to do so, okay? We already know that Elon's trying to cut down the prices for Tesla just so we can compete with the good old China, but that's another story that we can talk about later on. Going into gold, we've got this flavor with gold that has made a move up to the 1918 zone. Remember that it's been behaving as a true hedge. In other words, they've been exposing they've been loading up on their liquidity. That means hedge funds who have been trying to reallocate their assets, people's money that they are using to exploit, effectively to make money off. They have been loading up on gold's move to the downside, and gold has been making the move back up as well. Now, we've got to take into consideration the fact that the war itself requires lots of ammunition. It requires lots of production of machinery, lots of software being used and what have you. And the most essential metals that we need for that is gold, greatest conductors, silver, you name it. It's all happening. Rare earth metals should be sky high right now with what's going on in the AI business as well, because every single one of you that is watching this right now, mad love and respect to you. Make sure you are liking the stream. 100 people like the stream. That is a violation to this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, 100 of you show love in the channel. There's 800 of you in here, man. Let's get with the likes up. It costs you nothing. It does great for the algorithm, and it just spreads the word of the hybrid. You know, I wore a jester suit last week, ladies and gentlemen. Why would you not want to show anyone that? And I'm saying that because I ain't going to ever wear that suit again. I don't know, maybe I probably will, but, you know, it was all good fun. Anyways, going back into Bitcoin itself, again, like I said, back to the question when I said how many of you were in longs or in shorts, you all said 4 because you like the shirt, happy days. But let's make the assumption that you are in a long with Bitcoin. Now, we've got 2 moving averages. Moving averages are laggard. That's all I'm saying to you. But moving averages tell us what's happened, okay? Now, what do we see? We see movement. Cool. If you are in longs on Bitcoin, I would strongly recommend that you are taking profits if Bitcoin tries to make an attempt towards this zone, okay? Because you're just burning money right now. If it maintains itself above the 5 and 13 EMA, which is the yellow line right here, and the red line right here on the 1 hour time frame, then we are looking to hold on and let Bitcoin try and make a price discovery up all the way up to potentially this vector candle at 28. Now, they seem to be balling out around the 27.97 zone. Now, let's have a look at what is actually up there in terms of liquidity. Let's make the assumption that there is a bit of short liquidations in that zone. Now, look here. We've just had every day, bruv. I need to contact these guys, man. They ain't fixing that problem. We've just liquidated $3.4 billion worth of short liquidations, right? Nearby, there's not that much. We've got 1.2 billion at 28,350. Smack at 28,100. We got, 487 million in that zone. So the logic would say that they'd want to sweep that 28 zone. But if you remember last time when we were at 28,000, what did Bitcoin do? Well, we were in that 28 region right here, and I was saying I need to see 28. They went and swept the 28 to only bring it back down again. We are, in essence, looking for this flavor if it does decide to roll out. Now, like I said to you, the markets won't be opening for another 10 more minutes. Whatever you see Bitcoin doing right now, just consider taking some profits, because we're going to go into the smaller time frames to understand what would we need to see to validate the breakdown. Always work out what it could do rather than focusing on where you want it to go. It could drop down from this point. Would you have a game plan in play to manage your expectations of profit that you may have in the chart? But if you're focusing on, oh my God, Bitcoin needs to go to 500,000 from this point, for example, let's be realistic. Let's say you want to see Bitcoin go all the way up to 32,000 because that's your TP. Forget your TP. Your TP means nothing but to you. That means it can be adjusted based on the way the market operates. Your TP does not stand anything. It means it's pointless and it has no impression on the marketplace. Okay? Only on you, right? So you've got to say to yourself, forget the TP. Why? Because you're going to be focusing on price getting to it. You're not going to be focusing on what price is doing, avoiding itself to get to it. When you focus more on what it's not doing, then you're in line to believe that it could be preparing for something else. Okay? You've got to have that mindset. You've got to be thinking like that. It's standard poker. What cards do I want him to think I have? What cards does he think I have? Or what cards am I playing to make him think about the cards that I don't have, but I really want him to think I do? That's metagame. That is what trading is. You're up against the smartest players in the field. And those smart players have programmed computers to learn. And those computers that keep learning understand how they can get people to invest at specific points. Let's go and have a look at all our retail traders that have been buying right now on Bitcoin's move to the upside. Cool. Let's check this out. Who's been going long? Here we go. Lovely. Awesome. We have got, get your pens and papers out, ladies and gentlemen. We have had a beautiful move to the upside, courtesy of retail traders. $17.5 million worth of longs at 27,946. We've just had another 10 million loading up. And then we had another 11 million. We've also had 44 million. And we've also had another 44 million loading up on longs inside of this range. A couple of dudes have been playing the shorts right now, which they could be getting liquidated because Bitcoin might not be finished yet. And we got these little grayed area right here, which is liquidity sat in the chart. Okay, so just be careful. There are still more liquidations there. If anyone is running longs inside of here, just be careful. When they do break up, they could actually bring it back down just as aggressively. So just be mindful of that. To validate you holding on to your trade, you want to see vector candles appearing in this range. 15-minute time frame. Look at the controlled movement. Look. Green vector candles coming into play right here. We've got a push up vector candle recovery right there. Cool. We want to see a green vector candle attack this range to make me believe that there is a conviction to mark price higher. That's what we really want to see. The second Bitcoin sweeps up, I would strongly recommend taking some profits if you have been in this move down at the lows. Now, you know what I always say about the vector candles. Always pay attention to the green and blue vector candles that appear at the lowest point in the chart after a move to the downside. Have we got the criteria? Yes, we do. What do we see? We see the red vector candles moving to the downside. Do we have the presence of 3? Yes, we do. We have 1, drop, retrace, continuation. We've got 2, drop, retrace, continuation. And then we've got the third hit to the downside. Then we've got this structure. Oh, here we go. Bitcoin bringing us. There's that vector candle, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. We got the flavor coming in. The markets ain't even open yet. There's your green vector candle break on the 28,000. We need to hold this range. Let me just get Bitcoin on the Bookmap up. Here we go. Nice move away from the VWAP. With VWAP needs to be tested, but it has already been tested. So I'm not looking to see the VWAP get tested just yet because we spent a little bit of time in that range at 27,690. And we just quickly have a look at the big pools of liquidity. The book is imbalanced to plus 22% at this point. So limit buyers are trying to come in now and hold out in this range. We've got lots of commitment coming into the left of the chart, which is 27,600. And we've got this area here at 329 Bitcoin at 27,450. Look at that flavor right there. Red carpet stuff. Oh, they just canceled it. They just canceled it. That's not good. So there's an example of a spoof. Right, we want to see that liquidity coming in because you can see over here, ladies and gents, that we have got this move or this area of interest by the market where limit buys need to be coming in, and the limit buy is imbalanced by 30% nearly, which is telling me that limit buy orders are coming in right now to hold Bitcoin's price, showing interest, which naturally means Bitcoin is going to start moving up a little bit more. The market isn't open just yet, so be careful. We got a stack. 28,500, 1,400 Bitcoin orders stacked aggressively at the 28,500 region. It's actually around 2,000 Bitcoin orders between 28,450 and 28,500 zone. We would expect Bitcoin to sell off aggressively from that point. Okay, so we've got to be very careful. Now, we have moved away from the VWAP. Bitcoin has traded sideways. It looks like they're trying to initiate the trend away from the VWAP. Let's just have a look at Bitcoin on the charts of the EXO and have a look at what we've got going off here. So where is my chart? That's NASDAQ. Let's quickly just pull up this and put it into perspective for you guys. Where we at? Come on, there we go. Bitcoin is moving up. Now, look at this. Huge imbalances. Look at that flavor right there. Okay. So if you remember in the live stream on the Friday, remember we said it was going to come back down to the green vector candle and sweep that liquidity? You didn't believe it, but never mind. It did. So what we've got right now is we've got players up here. Imbalances coming into play. Problem I've got is I've got a few guys that are trapped up here. So I'm not too concerned about it just yet, but I would need to see at the start of the open of the next candle to try and return back up if they mean business. But what they've done is they've come back into the wick over here, swept that liquidity, taken and established a daily high. We really need to see Bitcoin showing the promise. We've got 17,000, 16,000 on the actual volume trade size right here. And we've got Delta going, oh, it's decreasing. That's not good. So you've got a little bit of a divergence coming into play. Delta's decreasing as it's moving higher. So there could be a little bit of a problem inside this range. You've got to be very, very cautious with it. Remember, the NASDAQ and the S&P are currently moving up, but Tesla is projected to gap down at the open. And Tesla is a big market cap, so we just want to be careful with that bad boy. Going into the order flow of Bitcoin on the depth of market, just bring that bad boy over here. What have we got? Let's pull that there, move that down, and we have ourselves the following. Okay, then. So, oh, come on, bruv, please. There we go. Right. So right now on the 25-day chart for Bitcoin, we have got it working towards value area high. Now, if you look up, there is still pools of liquidity. And we've got at 28,248, because I'm justifying now the move to 28,500, right? So from this point, you've got liquidity between 28,299 and 28,222, okay? There is a little bit of liquidity. So it's interest in the order book. And you can see it's trying to make its way towards that region. There is a lot of interest coming in. Look at the tape. Read the tape. This is red and green. Red sells, green buys. Here we go, making our way. And it's flowing. It's flowing up. We've got that liquidity coming up. There it is. We've got some sellers coming in at that point, 28,200. We're going to go for 28,500, ladies and gentlemen. This is what could actually happen with Bitcoin. Let's have a look. There's a green vector candle region. Happy days. We want to see that bad boy. Nice little W formation moving. Come on, Bitcoin, make that 28.5. I want that 28.5. Then the live stream will finish, ladies and gentlemen. 28.5. Give me the live. Give me the 28.5. Market ain't even open yet, ladies and gentlemen. They're bringing that flavor. 28.5 and we finish. 28.5 and we finish. 28.5 and we finish. I'm done. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the channel, it hasn't even hit it yet. I'll wait. Give it 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Come on. Come on. It wants me to stay. Should I stay? Should I stay, ladies and gentlemen? 28.5. 28.5. I don't do this for nothing. 28.5. Bitcoin. Where's that liquidity? Got imbalance it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the channel, mad love and respect. Go check out tradersreality.com if you want to learn a little bit more about the hybrid system. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Please trade safely, and I'll be checking in with you all tomorrow. Peace.